Welcome to the Journey, Direction for Disciples. Hi, my name is Andi and I'm the author and the originator of this course. And it's a course that's been designed specifically with you in mind. If you're a new believer and you've just given your life to Jesus, then this course is for you. Or maybe you've been a Christian for quite a while, well, this course is still for you. Or maybe you've never even been to church before and you're not really sure about all this God stuff. Well, this course, I believe, is still for you. I've been a follower of Jesus since I was in my teens, and I've worked in churches for now over 30 years. I'm a singer-songwriter and a worship leader. I'm a Bible teacher and a public speaker. I've led church ministries and I lead different church ministries, and I've helped churches develop music teams and other ministry projects. And in my varied work, I've had the privilege of traveling to many places around the world and meeting and working with a lot of fantastic people in many great churches, both large and small. And through conversations that I've had, I've met a lot of people who struggle with their faith in God, people who don't feel like they're very good Christians. And maybe you feel like that. And what I discovered was that there was something that kept cropping up time and time again in the conversations that I had. Something that quite often was at the heart of why a lot of people seem to struggle with their faith and their relationship with God. And it's simply this. No one ever sat them down and explained in a simple way what following Jesus is all about. No one ever sat them down to tell them how this relationship with God through Jesus really works. What church is about, how to pray, how to read the Bible, or even what Bible to read. No one ever sat them down from the very start and explained what certain words mean that you hear a lot of people use in church, like righteousness and grace. So I decided to write a course specifically designed to help people understand what faith in God is all about and how you go about being a Christian. So will this course do you any good? Yes, I believe it will. I've had a lot of feedback from people who have been on the course before. Let me read some to you. Here's what one of our candidates said. When I signed up for this course, I had two reasons for doing it. Although saved for nearly 20 years, I'd never had a course like this when I was first saved. And I felt the need to review the basic principles of Christianity. And I have a hunger to get closer to God and share God with others. This course has not only met my objectives, but refed my soul. I feel this is the beginning of a new journey for me with God. I'm so encouraged by that. And one of our other candidates said, being a Christian for a long time, I felt at a standstill and wanted to be awakened. Thank you for awakening me and opening my eyes and heart to God once more. And someone else said, yes, this course has been amazing. It's revealed simple truths to me in a new way. It has really encouraged me and I always look forward to it. Also, a lot of my questions were answered. It was brilliant. Really great comments. And right at the end of one of our very first times that we ran this course, we ran it in a local church, and one guy stood to his feet right at the back when I asked for some feedback, and he stood there and he shook his head. And I wondered what he was going to say. I thought it was going to be something quite negative. And then he said, you know, I've been a Christian for over 20 years. And I wish someone had told me this stuff right from the start. So I passionately believe that this course will do you good. It will encourage you in your faith and in your relationship with Jesus. So, welcome to the Journey, Direction for Disciples. Welcome to the Journey is a foundation course for people who have decided to follow Jesus, helping them to discover important truths about themselves in the light of what the Bible teaches. And throughout this course, you'll be learning many important principles that will help you understand the decisions you've made to follow Jesus and how to live out your faith in the real world. Following Jesus is something that will have an impact on your whole life, and so it's important to spend a lot of time looking at some things that will help you put your faith into practice. Before we begin, you may be taking this course with other people, so take some time now to introduce yourself to everyone else. Make a note of some of the people or all of the people who are with you on the course. And if you have one of the manuals, then you'll be able to find the section where you can write all their names down. So, if you're in a group, hit pause and I'll see you in a moment. So, welcome back. Making the decision to give your life to Christ, to Jesus, and becoming a Christian is not the end of the process. It's actually only the beginning. Because Christianity is never a static existence, but very much a moving experience. Whenever we embark on a physical journey, the scenery around us will change. You can't stay still and claim to have traveled. That's a contradiction. So traveling requires movement and requires change. And following Jesus is absolutely no different. The scenery of our lives will change around us as we walk day by day in His footsteps. We will change little by little as we set our minds on Him and make the effort to become more like Him. So Christianity is a journey, and that's why I've called this course Welcome to the Journey. You don't become a perfect Christian overnight, and you won't just stop doing things wrong and get it right all the time. But day by day, you'll begin to change as you learn more about God and His ways. So don't put pressure on yourself to be perfect, because as you will see, God isn't putting you under pressure. Things may not have gone well today, but when you wake up tomorrow, it'll be a new day and a fresh opportunity to make it better. So following Jesus always means that every day literally is a new day. We'll not always get it right. Things won't always go the way we would have hoped that they would. And life will definitely bring obstacles along the road. But every day with Jesus is another opportunity for us to experience more of the faithfulness of God in our lives. So please, don't get downhearted. Always remember that with God, every day really is a brand new day. And that He is the one who will live through us as we surrender more and more of ourselves to Him each day. We're going to look up a verse in our Bibles. And hopefully you have a Bible with you, because you're going to need it on the course. And we're going to be looking up a lot of references as we go along. So, the first reference we're going to look up is in the Old Testament, and it's in the book of Lamentations. If you're not sure where it is, just look it up in the index. And it's chapter 3 and verse 22 to 23. When you find it, write it down. If you have your manual with you, write it down in the space in the manual, or perhaps in a notebook. And then when you've got that done, I'll see you back after this short break. Okay, welcome back, and hopefully you find those verses okay. Let's ask ourselves a couple of questions. How long does God's unfailing love and compassion last? Well, the answer? Forever. They never fail. Second question. How often does He give us His mercy? And the answer, according to the verses we've written down, is every morning. So, finish this statement. Every day with Jesus is a brand new day. Now think about what this really means. Have you got it yet? Every day is a brand new day. Another chance. I hope you've got that. Now, through this course, we will look at truths and principles set out in the Bible that will help us answer three basic questions. Who am I? Why am I here? And what am I to do? Now, these are questions that I think every human being has asked themselves at some point. Questions that have driven many great men and women throughout the ages to seek the answers to. And answers that can really only be given by the one who created us in the first place, God. The first two questions are ones that simply, I think, seem to spring from us of their own accord. Who am I? And why am I here? They're questions that stand alone and almost create the bedrock of our existence. The final question of what am I to do is one that springs from what we discover from asking the first two questions. Once we discover who we are and our purpose for being, then it's logical that we will then ask, well, what now? How can I accomplish this task for which I live? How can I fulfill my purpose? You see, I think everyone wants to have a purpose. But you see, that's not enough, because we also need to know how to accomplish it. Knowing what your purpose is in life and in general, but not being able to act upon it, will simply lead to frustration, and that'll be destructive. In each new session, we will cover different topics under each of the 3 questions that we're asking. Who am I? We'll be looking at forgiveness and grace, being adopted and loved. Under why am I here? We're going to look at obedience and faith. We're going to look at worship. And then under what am I to do? We're going to be looking at church. We'll then be looking at the Bible and prayer. Then we'll look at the Holy Spirit, and we'll look at sharing your faith. 10 parts to the Welcome to the Journey course. Now, as part of the course, I've already mentioned that we will be using our Bibles. And so you'll need to have a Bible with you to go through this course, and perhaps a notebook and a pen. Because during the course, you'll be learning how to use the Bible. As you've already seen, there will be different references to look up and to write down as we go along. But don't be afraid of this or worried that you won't be able to find them. Nobody is expecting you to become an expert. Just take your time when looking for the various Bible references, remembering to use the index to help you. Looking up the different Bible verses is actually a very important part of this course, as this will help you get used to using the Bible and navigating your way around it. Now, there are different translations or types of Bibles available, and that can get a little bit confusing. But it also doesn't really matter which type or translation of the Bible that you're using, as long as you read it and you understand it easily. Many people like modern translations because they're easier to read, while other people prefer a more traditional one. There's really no right or wrong. Just find the one that you like the best. Now, if you're doing this course with other people, then why not try comparing some of the translations that they're using? Some of the translations that are available are the Authorized Version or King James Version, known as the AV, or else the New King James Version, which is known as the NKJ. We do like to abbreviate things. Then there's the New International Version, the NIV. The New Living Translation, the NLT, which is one of my favorites and one that I use a lot on this course. And then other versions like the Message, MSG. These are just a few that are available, so feel free to find out the one that suits you the best, or perhaps even download a Bible app for your mobile device. Later in the course, we'll take a look at how to use your Bible in a little more detail. But for now, we're just simply getting to know the different books that you will come across as you look in it. We'll be using our Bibles a lot throughout the course, so it's going to be useful for you to have an idea where everything is. And so the Bible is actually a collection or a library of 66 separate books divided into 2 sections. The first section is called the Old Testament, containing 39 books. And the second is called the New Testament, containing the remaining 27 books. And if you have the Welcome to the Journey manual or the ebook, you'll find a full list of them in there in the early section. Now, even though there are a lot of books in the Bible, don't feel under pressure to memorize where they all are. If you have to look up a particular book or reference, then don't forget to make use of that very useful tool called the index. Too many people think that it's a sign of spiritual maturity if they can turn to any book of the Bible at any time within 5 seconds or less. So remember, if in doubt, use the index. There's nothing wrong with it. And there's nothing wrong with using the index to find where a particular book is at any time. And it's only your pride that will tell you otherwise. So don't panic and don't put yourself under pressure. In our next session, in part 2 of Welcome to the Journey, we're going to start looking at the first of our 3 questions that we're asking. Who am I? And we're going to be talking about a couple of words that you will hear a lot of in church. Forgiveness and grace. So, I'll see you next time, but until then, stay encouraged.